the 24th Sunday of Ordinary Time. A little Latin class for you this morning. I had to study Latin, and I suffered it, so I'm offering a little suffering to you as well. There is a term in the Latin, but it was in the Hebrew Scriptures, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a what for a what, an equal for an equal. Talus qualis. Qualis is quality. And so similar quality. What you shoot at me, I'll shoot at you. What you take from me, I'll take from you. So lex taliosus is a law that seeks vengeance to establish equality, not necessarily peacefulness. So that's at the center of today's readings. I highly recommend praying with the first reading from Sirach and read the whole text of Matthew's chapter 18. Because it's a very interesting story. A man owes the king a lot of money. The king forgets him, and then he who has been forgiven is very cruel with his fellow servants, and then he gets punished by the king. It's lex taliosus. Maybe an image would help today, because we have a tough time with the concept of sin. What is sin? Well, it's breaking the law. Let's work on that. So what was expected? What was the prescription? Did I do it or not? And then, of course, with what intent did I do it? And all that legal stuff. What degree? For instance, how sorry do I have to be in order to be forgiven? Like a little, if we had a thermometer, kind of a sorrow-meter, and you could find out, do you have enough sorrow to be forgiven? Do you have enough forgiveness of the other person to forgive the other person? It's all that qualis business, talus qualis. What's the quality of my forgiveness? And I highly recommend praying with the last little sentence of the gospel. Unless each of you forgives his brother or sister from your heart. Why didn't he say from your head? Forgive people from your head. He said from your heart. So we have to pray with that today. But maybe an image that I prayed with this morning. Each morning at 6 o'clock, the workers who are refashioning the front of our church on campus here, St. John's Church, they tore down the steps, and they tore out the fountain, and they tore up the little plaza there, and now they're putting it back together. And it's very close to being done. And they start at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, I am not ready to awake. So I am not forgiving those workers from my head. But I get up anyway, because my room is right above where they're working. From my heart, yes, I can forgive them because they were avoiding the very hot part of the day and they want to get it done too. So, but right away from my head, not so sure. We'll come back to that. But they really fashioned a beautiful fountain for us. and it's going to have water sprouting, and the steps are going to be easier to traverse, and the plaza is going to be attractive. So it's a creation. I'm getting at a concept of what is sin. What if sin is a violation of God's creative power? And so what if I go out and injure one of the creators, one of the workers, one of those who are fashioning a wonderful fountain for us? What if I hurt them so they can't do that anymore? What if I stab them or break their leg? Their ability to enter into the creation of that fountain is quite limited, if at all. Or what if I go out at night and completely destroy or harm the beauty of that fountain and that wonderful staircase and rocks and bricks that they've made? What if I destroy that? What if we look at sin in terms of creation? Now, what if we look at God as not a judge, but a constant lover creating what love wants to create? So creation is an act of God's love. Not one of many, it's the only thing. God's love is only creational. And what if I injure the creation? What if I injure the ability of another to continue his or her creation? Might that be a sin? And it's very interesting in the gospel, the opening line where Peter says, if my brother sins against me, no, we don't sin against each other. We sin against the creative love of God. Not a law, but a relationship. That part of creation that we experience, our own and others, are expressions and revelations of God's creative love. And so when I don't sin against you, I sin against God by decreasing the ability of you to be entering into God's creation. I know this is complicated, but what if I prevent you? What if I hurt God's creational love through you by criticizing you unjustly, or not at all, or harshly? What if I hurt your ability to enter into God's creational love of others? I haven't sinned against you. I have sinned against God's love for this world by decreasing your creational possibility. Yeah, if I kill you, or if I kill your spirit or your sense of yourself, that's a sin against God, who created you. And I am decreating you. That's sin. I have diminished your ability to enter into God's creative love of me, maybe, or others. So the power of mercy, then, forgiveness, maybe not from my head. My head remembers. As long as I hold on to your hurting me, I have a power then, you see. I have a missile that I can use. I could use mercy, but if I forgive you, then I've given up the power of vengeance, revenge. So if you criticize me and if I hurt you, you have to hurt me. If you hurt me, I have the right, I have the power to create you. So it's not forgiveness from the head. It's, do I know what I'm doing by wanting to be vengeful? Well, mercy then, is not a judicial judgment. It's a relational thing. I forgive you for hurting me, but in my heart, I regain my power of creation that you might have taken away. That's mercy. I forgive you, and I want you to return or initiate your role in God's creative love. So mercy is not a forgiveness. I forgive you, you can get out of prison now. No, mercy is I get you out of your prison of negativity and uncreativity, your inferiority, your diminishment. So from my heart to your heart is mercy. And so the reception of mercy on our part is that God says, whatever diminishes me that I can't love or create, I give that back to you in your heart. Maybe you'll remember. But mercy isn't something that is tied to whether you forget or not. Forgiveness is different from forgetting. Forgiveness is, I forgive you, and I let God forgive me through you. Whether you say I'm sorry or not, I return to the dignity and the power not to hurt you again in equal matters, but I want to recover from the injury that you did me so that I can be reestablished in God's creative love. And so we have, say, a person who once attacked and injured and diminished the Pietà in St. Peter's Basilica. Destroying the beauty of somebody's art, that can be repaired. Not originally, but you don't know it's hurt. Mercy is repair. For what? To let go of the power, the missile of vengeance, and replace it with the power of God, the giver of life, the creator of life, to that I recover from and I recover to the dignity of entering into God's creative love. So we receive the sacrament of the Word, we receive the sacrament of the Eucharist to recover from whatever holds us back. And maybe gives me the grace to go and forgive from my heart